One of the most critical components of your medical education is the work you will do in the anatomy lab. This sign hangs on the wall. The Latin translates literally to "the dead teach the living." For the purposes of medical school, that means you will learn to heal the living with lessons from the dead. So important is that fundamental concept and so valuable to your training that you are introduced to the anatomy lab and the cadavers from which you will learn on day one.
Think about trying to fix a car. You're not going to just read about fixing a car. You're going to want to get in and see what the parts feel like and how they go together and how they come apart, so that when something does break, you know how to fix it. And the human body is very similar to that. The structure and the function go hand in hand when it comes to medicine. So it's extremely important that we get that hands-on value of exploring the human body.
Our medical school uses cadaveric-based learning. So we use donors or body donors, so people who have donated their bodies upon death to medical science. We do this because we've found that learning from another human being, even one who has passed, is the best way to learn how to fix people alive today, right? So you understand how a person is put together, you can see what goes wrong. So this is the first time they're really interacting with a person at this level and understanding just how complicated a human being can be.
Cadaveric dissection in anatomy lab is the gold standard for learning anatomy. When you open up the donor and you start doing your dissections and you're looking through the anatomy, sometimes you'll find things that you didn't expect, or you'll make connections between some of the pathologies that you're finding and some of the diagnoses that are on their medical history. When you're dissecting, it's always a mystery. Sometimes we find new things. It's the opportunity for you to be taught using your first patient.
You know, when someone decides to become an anatomical donor, they really want to give to further generations. It is certainly something that we give a lot of reverence to because it really is considered the student's first patient. We always learn from our patients. Even as a practicing physician, it is based on that relationship that we call it their first patient.
The interesting thing to me about anatomy is that you never really know what you're going to find when you start dissecting a body donor. And sometimes we find really unique things. Some of those can even lead to students working on a publication or a paper. In general, you never know. You never know what you're going to see, and that's, I think, the interesting thing about anatomy.
It's kind of hard to overemphasize the importance of anatomy, because again, we as human beings are anatomy. All the trillions of cells that make up our body, that form our organs, our individual tissues, they are all anatomical. How those structures are formed, how they interact with each other, that's all important to making a functioning human being. And as a future doctor, you are working with human beings who are suffering from problems with their anatomy. Understanding how a person is put together is the first and probably most crucial step to understanding how something has gone wrong, right? You can't diagnose a person's problem if you don't understand what it should look like in a healthy individual.
Here in the anatomy lab at NYIT, we have a lot of technology built into the lab, 4K cameras in the ceiling so that we can show anatomy of any given cadaver around the room and project that onto screens that are around the room. We have a lot of sort of iPads and other things in the lab, so you can be using apps and things and comparing as you're dissecting and comparing between atlases and textbooks and apps and the cadaver, and using a lot of resources during your dissection.
We've got a fantastic lab with lots of different multimedia experiences to really help connect what is learned in lecture or learned in other classes with what you're seeing here in anatomy lab. Anatomy is going to be one of your first experiences in medical school. Everybody has very strong feelings about anatomy. Everyone has very strong memories about their first anatomy experience. We want to help build some of those fantastic memories for you. We want to help educate you for your future as a medical professional.
Anatomy is tough. What we want to do is to help break that down into smaller pieces that makes it easier for you to understand the material and to be able to make connections. The other thing that we've learned over time is that it's really important that we express to you why you need to know this information. We do offer review sessions that are faculty driven. We also have anatomy tutors that are available. So you have a lot of resources at your disposal to help you become successful in learning the foundational anatomical knowledge.
Here at NYIT College of Osteopathic Medicine, we set a high standard for anatomy labs among medical schools. Our lab has large windows with lots of natural light. It's spacious with lots of room for students between stations. And it's technologically advanced with the latest in 4K cameras, monitors, apps, and virtual teaching formats. Medical schools excel based on their anatomy labs. Our students thrive with ours. You'll see, and once you've seen our lab, you'll know why ours stands out.